Welcome back to Investing with Confidence, talking about the do's, the don'ts of the financial markets. That's all the markets: stocks, options, futures, forex, cryptocurrency, sponsored by Online Trading Academy on their 25th year, teaching people just like you how to get in the markets safely, confidently, and making smarter investing decisions. We gave away tickets to an investing class locally here in Atlanta, Denver, and Bloomington. If you did miss that, I'm going to give a text here so you can text in and pick a date for yourself. It's a link. You'll get a link right back. Text the word invest to the number 484848. You'll get a text right back. Pick the link and pick a date that works best on your schedule. We do these classes locally at our academies here in Atlanta, Denver, and Bloomington. And these are about 2 hours. They're in the evenings. They're in the afternoons. They're also in the mornings and on the weekends. So pretty much anybody can attend. And I really like those investing classes because we get all types of people to these classes. We get people that are brand new to the markets, have never traded before or invested before. We have people that are investing right now and trading, but just looking for a strategy for consistency. But we also see a lot of people that are invested in the market. They have 401ks, IRAs, retirement accounts, but not necessarily active with that. And you mentioned earlier something about being active with their income, with their strategies. So let's talk about some of those different strategies that you're talking about as far as, like income strategies in the markets, wealth strategies. Let's talk about more cash flow, like the shorter term ones, let's call it.
Yeah, well, you have to understand that what we're going to be seeing now going forward is a lot of, we talked about opinions. You're going to see opinions thrown at you right and left by the so-called pundits out there that are basically going to be just confusing to you. And with all of the global issues we've going on with the inflation, the Fed getting involved in raising interest rates, emotions can easily take the driver's seat in situations like that, and then they control your decisions.
What are those emotions, though?
Well, emotions are greed and fear.
Okay.
I mean, as a human being, we're born with emotions that actually make us ourselves our biggest enemy as far as having the ability to be successful. So you have to control those emotions. But that's one of the mistakes people make, is they let emotions control what they do. And you mentioned the different kinds of people that are coming into the class: people that have no experience, people that have experience, people that have retirement accounts. But the common theme that we're seeing recently is, hey, I'm really concerned about what's going on. How can I protect myself? How can I make sure that I can benefit? Because people understand that there's always somebody out there making money. They know that there are pros out there that are doing really well. Mm-hmm. And what we try to get across to you is that the things that they are doing aren't really any different than what you can do. The pros are just not telling you about them. And really what it gets down to, we try to keep this as simple and as basic as possible, which is all you need. I mean, there are some people that try to use 5, 10, 15 different strategies. If you look at their monitors, you can't even see the price of something. They got so many technical indicators on there. What it really comes down
Looks
to
like
is
spaghetti.
Like spaghetti, like somebody spilled a plate of spaghetti on your screen. What it really gets down to is just that one word, and it's price.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, there's only two things that really impact the price of something. It's buyers and sellers. Mm-hmm. If there are more buyers than sellers, price is going to go up. If there are more sellers than buyers, price will go down. So the key is to be able to identify where they're going to be active by reading a price chart and finding on that price chart where that will happen.
Yeah.
That's what we teach our students. That's how you keep it as simple as possible, because that's the only thing that's really important. The opinions of other people aren't important. If you are looking for additional cash, additional money on a short-term basis, then the fundamentals aren't even important. It's just, where are the buyers, where are the sellers?
Yep.
If you're looking, and there's really two kind of different components to your financial world. One is the income part of it, and one is the wealth and retirement part. If you're still working, you're gathering assets. That's additional income. Maybe you have a job, and the job isn't quite enough there to pay those terrible things that show up in your mailbox every
B-word?
every day.
Bills, right?
Bills, right? And the people that send those bills expect to have money come back to pay them. Yeah. So for a lot of people, it's a struggle right now. Even people that are, in maybe the six-figure income. The higher your income, typically, the higher your living expenses, your lifestyle goes. Yep. So there's a lot of people that are in that mid-six-figure income that are living paycheck to paycheck. Income, and what happens if something happens to your job? What happens if you have one source of income and it's gone? then you're in trouble.
You're up that
you
creek.
have some issues. You are up the creek, and
Yeah.
no one's giving you a paddle. So learning how to generate income is different than how you are going to be investing for your long-term wealth.
Yeah, so you need strategies that are designed for that, Al.
Specifically for that, exactly. And they're the same things that the big institutions, the big players are using. Even guys like Warren Buffett, who you would think maybe doesn't need to be concerned about income, he's using these strategies to generate income. If you're looking for short-term, maybe daily or weekly income, there is an asset that is perfect for that kind of objective, and that's the futures market.
Yep.
If you're looking for income on a short-term, mid-term, long-term basis, the options market is a fantastic market for that.
Yep.
There's the foreign exchange market where you're looking at the difference in currencies. That's a great market for also multi-time frame trading, but all three of those assets have leverage. And
Yes.
if you are looking for income, or if you're just behind on where you think you'd like to be, you need to be able to access and properly use something that has the potential for higher rewards with lower risk and a less amount of money to be involved in that particular investment.
Yeah, and I want to continue talking about those strategies that you're talking about, and the different assets and everything. But I just want to go back to the supply and demand topic you were talking about, because I think it's important for our listeners to understand that supply and demand in the markets is the same thing as in your everyday life.
Mm-hmm.
For example, if I'm selling a phone, and everybody that's listening right now knows an iPhone costs about $1,000, right? Now, if I'm selling this phone for $500, everybody's going to say, me, I'll buy that, because they know it's a $1,000 phone.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be a whole bunch of demand for one cell phone.
Yeah, I'll give you 501.
Well, there you go.
And somebody else will give you 502.
Exactly. And it's kind of like a bidding war then.
Exactly.
But that's how the financial markets work. When there's more buyers, price will go up because the seller can raise that price. So, and then what happens is it'll flip when there's more supply than demand. So when I say, okay, I'm going to sell this phone, knowing that it's a $1,000 phone, I'm going to sell it for $1,500. Nobody's going to buy it. So now there's more supply than demand, so price naturally has to drop.
Right.
Very similar to the financial markets. And when you talk about that in these investing classes, people can actually visualize how the markets work and how it functions. And that's one of the big things we talk about in these investing classes is you have to understand, how does the market work? How does price move? And then how do you make the right decision within that? And you really unpack that in these investing classes that we do locally right here in Denver, Colorado, Bloomington, Minnesota, and Atlanta, Georgia. So get your phones ready for 2 tickets for an investing class locally. Al teaches these. I teach these as well. You can call right now for that. Call 888-682-6466. That's 888-682-6466. If you are a texter, I'm going to make it easy for you. Text the word INVEST to the number 484848. You're going to get a text back, but we're also going to get you a call. So expect a call to find a date that works the best on your schedule. So, Al, you were mentioning these different assets that are designed for income strategies, right? Mm-hmm. The futures market, the options market, and the Forex market. You mentioned leverage. Now, we have a lot of listeners that probably work during the day. I mean, the majority of the people that actually come to these investing classes have jobs and work during the day, which is pretty typical, almost like a 9-to-5 type person. But they're like, well, how do I get in these markets? The stock market's only open for 6.5 hours during the day. What can they do?
Yeah, well, futures and Forex, fortunately, trade almost 24 hours a day. Forex is a 24-hour-a-day trading asset. Futures, about 23 hours and 45 minutes. So essentially, both of them are around-the-clock trading vehicles. So you choose when you want to participate. If you can't be available during the stock market, you've got plenty of other time to be able to do this. And, you know, even if you are trading something that just is available during the stock market, it doesn't mean you can't preset a trade and then have it active when you're not there. The last thing you want to do is to sit in front of a computer screen watching the movement of something, trying to decide the right time to get in and the right time to get out.
You ever watched paint dry before?
Well, I have actually.
Yeah, it's about the same.
You know what?
It's pretty boring.
I used a hairdryer to help move it along. But the reason I mention that is that a lot of people do things that they think will help them to do a better job. You can't watch something and hope that it moves faster in one direction or stops going one direction and starts going the other direction.
We talked about a while ago about, how every time I look in the mirror and I just see Brad Pitt.
Yes.
But every time I look, it doesn't happen always.
No, but and I keep telling you that when you look in the mirror and you see Brad Pitt, it's because you have Brad Pitt's picture taped to your mirror. That's as close as you're. No offense, but that's as close as you're going to get. But we mentioned supply and demand. Anybody who has taken any kind of financial class or economic class, you understand that is a basic law that can't really be argued. When there is more demand for anything, price will go up. The value of it, the price will go up. When there's more supply, price will go down. But it's, you can buy something tomorrow, Josh. In fact, you and I could both buy the same stock tomorrow, and it would not increase the demand.
Correct. It takes millions and millions and billions of dollars to do that.
So who does that? Well,
the banks.
Big firms, the big institutions like Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan and Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett at one point in time took a position in IBM stock. 64 million shares. That's $10.7 billion in one position.
Real quick, you kind of made me think about something. So we talk about our strategy at Online Trade Academy and how it was created, right? And it's designed to follow those big banks and institutions. Talk about on the floors of the exchange where a lot of our instructors came from, how they facilitated that.
Yeah, when you follow a strategy, you want to make sure that strategy was developed by people that really understand it and that the concept of it, the components of it, actually are factually correct and that they actually work. It has to be a strategy. If you're going to use it, it has to be a strategy that works. It should be a simple strategy, but the guys that put our strategy together are the core, what we call core strategy. They worked on the floor of the exchange. A lot of them were professional traders. They were the ones that were actually moving the market. They were putting so many dollars into the market that they could actually see it move. Yep. You could look at a price chart. Somebody on the floor could have made a trade, and they could look at a computer screen with a price chart on it, and they could actually see the movement of it. Mm-hmm. But that's because maybe they invested several $1 million in something. The great thing for us is that the big institutions, this is a disadvantage to them. If they're like when Warren Buffett wanted to have a 64 million share position in IBM only trades 3.5 million shares a day. So he had to do it in increments. Mm-hmm. And that means the big institutions do the same thing. They have a hard time putting a full position together at one time. They can't. Yep. And same thing when they're exiting a position. So we use that information to our benefit. It helps us to identify on a price chart where additional trades are going to be placed by these institutions. And we're there. We're set at that point to benefit from their activity.
Yeah, have the potential or opportunity to do that. You have to do it ahead of time. Just something to go a little deeper, a little further on the floors of the exchanges back then. There's clerks, right? And clerks also take the orders from the floor traders, the ones that are moving big money, big dollars in the markets, and they would facilitate that order flow. So we had a lot of clerks on the floors of the exchanges, and they facilitated that order flow at one time. So they knew where price was going to go based on if they had a whole bunch of stacks of orders at $50.50, they knew price was going to stop there because it had to fill those orders. Correct. Remember the supply and demand example we were talking about earlier. So just understanding how this strategy was built and what it's designed to do. It's designed to follow those institutions, as Al was talking about, the Buffetts of the world, the Goldman Sachs. So that way you're making smart investing decisions, but doing that with confidence. And we get these people that come to these investing classes that are looking for more confidence, but they don't have a strategy. Well, if you're one of those people, you're looking to get in the markets confidently, comfortably, you need to learn from people that are in the markets or at least where they have a strategy that's designed to follow those big institutions. So, Al, we have these investing classes that you teach here in Bloomington, specifically Denver, also in Atlanta. So people living in these different locations, you can call in right now for tickets to see what this core strategy is all about and really make your own decision. Is trading investing for you or not? Call 888-682-6466. That's 888-682-6466 for 2 tickets. When you call in right now, you're also going to receive a financial quick start kit that does include some free stuff. Al, I know you like free stuff. We're going to give away some
good stuff.
Free stock picks with that. So call right now, 888-682-6466. Coming up next, Al, let's talk more about different strategies with these other markets like futures, forex, and options.
Sure.
But relate them more towards wealth strategies, retirement strategies, 401ks, and IRAs. Coming up next.